Hi, thanks so much for joining us this evening for GDC Summer. My name is Emma Kidwell. I'm a freelance narrative designer, and I'll be moderating this session on behalf of Tepe. You can ask questions in the questions tab next to the session video, and I'll field them to Tepe at the very end. Before we kick things off, I ask that everyone is respectful and mindful of our code of conduct while participating in the discussion. And with that, I'm going to hand things off to Tepe.
Hi, my name is Tepe Tsutsui. I'm the managing partner of the GFR Fund. And a little bit about myself. I have nearly 20 years of the investment and operating experience in the gaming tech industries. And before starting the GFR Fund, I was the head of the investment team at the gaming company called GREE, G-R-E-E, which is the Japanese mobile game company. And I led a series of the investment and acquisition deals, both in Tokyo and the San Francisco. Back in 2016, we launched the GFR Fund, which is the 50 million zero stage fund focused on the digital media entertainment. So we do invest in games, esports, and other like game related industries as well. And we are backed by a game and media company from Asia and especially from Japan. That's where I come from. And so far we made about 40 investments, primarily in the North America, and some small companies, a small number of the companies in Europe. And companies include like the Game Club, which is the monthly subscription for mobile gaming companies. And also the high rise is the mobile metaverse. It's something similar to like a Second Life, but it's on the mobile. And we also invested in a lot of the esports company like ProGuys, the Meta, and Fun AI. And also we invested in the VR companies like VRChat, Wave, and also like Experiment 7. So, okay, so let me enlarge the slide just in case I'll see it. And okay, so in this talk, I want to cover the mainly four things. One is that so who are those like a game investor? Who are those investors who invest in the gaming companies? And also the secondly is the fundraising, how to create the fundraising plan. And third, what's the good pitch deck look like? And the first and finally, how to manage the communication with the investors. So by the end of this session, I hope that you can get the practical skills and the practices so that you can start raising for your new journey. And okay, and also, but before I kind of explain to kind of fundraising process, I would love to get to know you guys. And maybe you can use the poll function on your screen to the right. There's a few questions that I wanted to ask. One is that where are you guys come from? Are you guys from like North America, Europe, Asia? I think like one of the benefits of having this everything online is that you can participate from all over the world. So I'd love to know like where you guys come from. And the next question, the second question I had about so where do you guys stand right now? So in the like journey of the starting a new company. So you are like thinking to start a new company right now, or you already started the like building product? What's like current status of your journey in this venture, the starting the new game studio. So I'll just pause a little bit so that I can see the result. Right. See. Cool, wow. Sorry, so many responses already. Okay. So I guess like a majority come from the North America. And that's good. So about 30% are starting new company right now. And some of them are already started. That's good, that's good. And just like 1/3 is just curious to hear what I say. So that's also great. Okay. So going back to the presentation. Sorry about this conjuring. Okay. Right. So I'd love to talk a little bit about the how you fund your game or product. So there are so many ways to like finance your game titles, and but I think there are like three main categories or three middle like methods that you can do that. One is of course like a publishing. That means that you're going to be working with the, like a big, game company like a publishers company like EA, Activision Blizzard, Sony, Scopely. In this category, you work with those like big publishers, and they'll fund you for the development of the game titles, and also they can help you like marketing the new games or like user acquisitions, and they can share those like skills and also the resources, and they can help you to kind of the grow the games. And secondly, there's a way to like a crowdfunding your game titles as well. And there are like so many really fascinating like a game crowdfunding platform like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, which is more like a general purpose. And but there is also the like a game specific crowdfunding site like a fig.co. So they are really excited to see that so many individuals really actually willing to pay for those game titles or new project that they're like really excited about. And so if you haven't really seen this kind of the like website before, I would highly recommend that you should go and check out. And lastly is the venture financing, which I'm going to talk about a little bit deeper today. It's like a funding from the VCs, like a venture investment. Company like the funds like the Andreessen Horowitz, Accel, NEA, or like more game specific fund like Play Ventures, us. So you can get the funding from those like VCs as well. And so the next question is that like, are they actually like those VCs are actually investing in the games? The answer is yes. If you look at those data this is the data from CB Insights, that's the database company, and you can see from the like last 4 years since 2016, every year almost over $2 billion are invested in the gaming companies, and that's kind of the amount doubled almost compared to the previous 5 years, which is since 2012 to 2014. So I think now it's the VCs are more interested in investing in a gaming company. And also, if you see there are lots of the new game-focused funds are emerging since 2017, and not only the US but also like across the globe. And if you look at the funds like the Play Ventures, Bigcraft, and also the Hero Capital, they're all like European based. And I think the B games on the left side, left bottom is actually the first game focused fund out of this while. And like also like in the US, us being the San Francisco based fund, and also the One Up Ventures, Transcend Fund, and also like Briefing Gaming Partners, they're all like US based. So there are actually for the last 3 years, new funds coming up from each kind of continent. And that's going to show that how the investors are looking into this category more like seriously. But if you decide to like ever raise the money from VCs, there are like certain things that you should be aware of. One is that they only invest in a company, not a project or product. So I sometimes see the founders like asking like VCs for money to invest in a project, like a certain project, but that's not the like a right person to ask. If you want to get funding for the project, you should talk to a publisher maybe, but not a VC, because they only invest in a company. And they usually require hyper growth, like really, like sharp growth. And also eventually they want to get the exit event happen. Exit meaning like IPO or the like acquisition like M&A, or even like they want to sell the portion to somebody else. So that's kind of, you have to think like more strategically because they're eventually not the part of your group or your family. And the third point is that because of this, like they require higher profit growth, they usually prefer to work with the company with the own IP, not a company that they usually do like a work for hire for somebody else. So it's kind of the like more question about the like how you can see the upside, and I think that's kind of combines with the fourth point, which is the monetization. And if so VC prefer like the potential kind of upside, a really high upside. So they like rather want to see the multiple revenue sources available for those game titles, or sometimes like a microtransaction or maybe like a subscriptions, or so like the premium model might not fit with the like a lot of VCs. They usually prefer like a premium, also like a subscription or microtransactions. Okay, and so who are those like a game investors? Who are those like investors in a gaming company? And there are like really like valleys. It depends on the size and also the types. And maybe like the one who's raised like a smaller check and also they can make a quick decision is the angel investors. That's like individuals. So individuals, maybe they are former like founder of the like a gaming company, or they are like maybe like executive that's like a veteran in the gaming industry. So they can write a check like maybe 20K, 100K. So they can also make like a quick decision because that's all their own money. And the second category is the accelerators. So they're like more kind of Y Combinator, like 500 startups world. But I would recommend to take a deeper look at the two like specific accelerators, which is the yellow that's run by a Snapshot, and the other one is the BetaWorks. That's the New York focused, so New York based VC fund, but they also run like the accelerators every maybe like twice every year, and they also like every time they think about like a theme for each accelerators, like audio, voice, synthetic, even like a vision. So there are certain topics that maybe like even if the category is like really matches what you guys doing, they should also like consider applying for those accelerators as well. And there are also other categories too. Maybe like the bigger fund, so further to the right. So there are the funds that kind of quite famous, and you must like heard of the names like Andreessen, Bessemer, Axel. They're like large Series F VCs. They're focused on the little bit early stage, but not like earliest. And also there are like us, like category like more like a game focused seed stage fund, LVP, Play Ventures, and Transcend Fund, and there are like some people in the middle. That's we call like a family office. They're like managing somebody else's money, but usually VC has like a multiple LPs. I mean the investors, but in this family office is the only single families, like wealthy families, and they invest like across like several like multiple assets. Sometimes they focus pretty much on the gaming company, and there are funds like the Everbull Management, Eldridge, and Doom Ventures are like this kind of falls under this category. And so when will be the right time to reach out those like different types of VCs? And if you like, idea phase and beta launch, early traction, and the product market fit, I think the earlier you can reach out is actually the like angel investors or even like accelerators. So those are as I mentioned earlier, the angel investor usually like a smaller check, like a 10K, 20K, and they can make a quick decision. I think it's like a right place to start. And the accelerators also can gives you more like resources, like the advices, or they can bring in more like a hiring, help on the hiring. So that's also like lots of the help that they can get from those accelerators. And then also like a seed stage fund as well. So they even with the idea phase, nothing to show, more like they don't have any product or they don't have any demo. Seed stage fund actually want to talk to you earlier than, it's like if the things that get too late. But for the maybe like family offices or even the large like a VC Series A fund, you should probably want to wait until you got early traction or even like a beta launch, even sometimes like a product market fit, because Series A investor typically look for those like a product market fit. So you should wait until you have like more kind of along the way, and you should like start from those angel accelerators and the seed stage fund. And so you got the kind of idea of like who would invest in the gaming company. So what's next? It's I think it's like you should come up with a game plan, or more specifically, like how much money you need. So it's more like a kind of backward calculation. So if you need like like 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million, first you should think of the like maybe next 12 to 18 months what you have to achieve to get the next raise. So in case you're raising a seed stage fund, sorry, the seed financing, you should consider what I need to do for the Series A raise. So that way, you may need to like maybe 10 more engineers or designers, or even like you have to hire the, some like additional resources, or even like offices and those kind of the more like a back end stuff, back office stuff. Then so you have some sort of like you have to kind of build a plan, like operating plan, and that way you can calculate how much money you need. So that's that money, the amount that you need to raise to get to like a next raise will be your like the amount that you have to raise. So it can be like 1 million, can be like a 2 million, but don't have to be like specific number, but you should have like a rough idea of like like a range, like 1 to 2 million or like 500,000 to 1 million. So that way you have like more clear idea of like what's the goal for this financing, and make sure you have like enough runway meaning that you can survive throughout this like fundraising process, because that usually takes 3 to 4 months. And ideally, you should have like a 6 month, but it's like more like a backup plan because in case that it's gonna take a little bit longer. So just keep that in mind. And the pitch deck, there are like so many like resources out there. So I don't want to get into that so deep into this, but a few things. So pitch deck matters, but it matters more is actually the narrative. It's more like a story. Like what's the appealing point? What's your selling point of what you guys are working on? And the next one is it's like the pitch deck should be really simple and concise. I would say like not like 100 pages. Should be like less than 10 page. 10 slides. And I use appendix wisely because I know like if you like start creating slides, it's gonna be like a 20 to 30 pages. So put the pick the like really the slides that you think is important and put them onto the, like a main part, and put other like remaining part on appendix, so that every time like investor asks kind of specific questions, you might just pull up like one of those slides to answer those questions. And you should also have like multiple version, like a shorter version of like maybe 5 slides versus like a longer version, maybe 15 to 20 slides, depending on like how much you have for each investors, or like the kind of occasion that I have to like send it over by emails or something like that. And like less words, more visuals is always better, so that you can kind of talk through or talk, your talking points, you can kind of explain verbally, not just writing everything down. And the pitch deck, it's I think this is so game companies are a little bit different from the other companies that we see, because team should come first, because who would be building is the more important than the like more like a vision or anything. And also the topic that I put, like previous titles and products. So like the previous titles kind of tell you who you are. So it's kind of important to mention that what kind of the product you worked on. Like it's like a game titles, project, and anything. So that's kind of gives you more idea, gives the investors more idea like who you guys are. And the third slide should be the vision, like a game or titles or what you guys going to be like working on. And why now? Like why now is this is important? And also the traction, if there's any like traction that you can share with investors, and the monetization, that's like a potential revenue, competition, roadmap for next maybe 12 to 18 months, and finally the rounds like financing, like how much you need, like how much you got committed from other investors, that's kind of stuff. And like there are like so many like resources available in the market but I can just gonna highlight the three things. So first one is the game pitch deck. Ventropy has like a really like a wonderful articles about how this gaming pitch deck should look like. And if you haven't checked that out, I recommend that you should just go and read through. And the second one is the more like a general template that's prepared by the Sequoia. It's quite it's more like 10 years ago, but I think it is still it's really nice, concise set of the templates. So yeah, that's also like really one of the recommendation. And third one is the link to like other other companies like you can see Series A deck for Uber or Airbnb. For some reason, this website has like maybe 50 to 100 companies in the previous the fundraising pitch deck. So yeah, it's like really nice collection of those like presentations. So you should definitely take a look at it. And so something about the like a narrative. So this is I think it's most important part of the fundraising plan. I mean the fundraising process. So this is like a simple question like how you guys stand out compared to the other companies, compared to the other team. So it's gonna be it might be like super star team. I'm just kind of making up, but one of you maybe like a creator of like a Pokemon Go, like one of you creator of like Fortnite. So that's like kind of obvious that you guys kind of you can do this again. So maybe that's like your team you should like really appeal that point, or maybe like deep marketing side. I'm just kind of making up again, but somebody was like used to be head of the like Google Play game section, like App Store the game section. So he or she kind of knows like what kind of the game title or genre is like really coming in the market. So that's like it's like that's the case, then you should like really sell that point, and might be like a greater user traction or even revenue. But if you can show something, if the like you already launched the product and the traction like user growth, MAU seems to be quite working, then you should be able to present your pitch deck around that, the user traction or revenue. So pick like one like a differentiating factor, how you guys stand out with the other game developers. Then you should build the narrative or story around that, the selling point. So it's really important because investors see a lot of companies, a lot of gaming developers like almost every day. So how you guys stand out, you should kind of think about yourself that what's the selling point of your team or your product or your company. And so now got you got the idea of the game investors, you got kind of a pitch deck ready. So now it's time to like reach out to the game investors. And who are they? So I usually recommend company to prepare like a long list of the investors in the gaming who invest in the games. But I know it's hard, so I just created for you guys. So this is the list of about 60 plus investors who invest in the games, and most of them I know. So it's like really kind of verified. And it's if you click the link URL, so you can get the you can get a list. And also there's another resource that you can kind of tap into. So this is also like a free database. This guy, French guy, Maxime Urando, he's creating the kind of database of the kind of track all the financing activities by game developers. It's also like available for everyone. It's in public, so you can also like take a look at those which company who is investing in which company. So then you can get make some ideas like who will be your great fit for your company. And so this like the investors, this is a good starting point. So you shouldn't like really randomly reach out to those investors. More, you should also think about like evaluate each investor by looking at how active they are. If the investor has invested in the similar space, but try to avoid those investors who invested in the competing companies. And also like look at like a LinkedIn and see like how you're connected to that person, or you can find someone like some friends or like a founder, your team, or anybody know that person. Then you should like really you can kind of find out like how easy for you to reach out to those investors. So just evaluate all these like multiple criteria and to put those investors in like a 3 buckets. It's like I just call like ABC because that's kind of easier. So A is like a great fit, good fit, great fit. Hopefully 20 to 30 investors, and B is more like a might be a fit, and the C is like a not fit. So that's this is their first process that you should tackle on. And then next one is the more like a tactics, but I call like a batch processing approach. So not the like reaching out to like 100 investors at once. You should create some like a batches, maybe like 2 batches from like the category B investors and 2 batches from A investors, and then start from from B, not A, because A is like more like a dream investors that you want to get funding from. So keep that one like in the last, so that you can start from the like somewhere in the middle, and always start from the angel investor, because that's the like most casual conversation you could have with those angel investors. And some angel investor actually can become an advisor to your company, or even can help you more, give you some advice for like fundraising or like even product. So it's better to start from the angel investor first, then move on to the B category investors. And let's say like the first week you maybe like email to like half of like the first batches of the B investors, and just like a third week you reaches out to the remaining the category B investors. And fourth week start from the A investor, and fifth week you start like the second batch of the A investors. So start from the angel, and so every week you have a kind of new set of the like investor you can reach out to. So that way you have like more kind of like the phased approach to those investors, so that you can kind of learn by talking to the earlier investors first. And by the time you talk to like a dream investors, you kind of get to know, like what kind of question will be like asked by the investors, and that's going to help you to build your talking point as well. And another tactics that I kind of recommend is the kind of I call it a building blocks. But let's say you want to raise about 2 million at like whatever cap is, like 7 million here in this example. And so just I kind of mentioned it before. So you should start talking to the angel investor first. So and kind of try to like incentivize them by offering the like discount of the like valuation. So in case of this example, like 7 million, not at the offering the 7 million, maybe they say like first 500K, like a $500,000. I feel like any angel investors commit to the 500K, up to 500K, you can offer them like a little bit slightly lower discount, like 5 million cap or the 6 million cap. So by doing this, you can kind of build a momentum towards the like institutional investor, more like a VC type. And maybe you can get like 500,000 from this series category B investors. And by the time you talk to like more like a dream investors, you get the soft commitment of like more hard commitment of like about 1 million. So you can get the maybe like remaining 1 million as a lead investor from like any of those category A investors. So start, so the given them like some like incentivize them like by offering the discount, it's maybe a good way to build the momentum. So that way you can kind of like prove to the other investor that there are actually other investors interested in investing in you guys. Okay, and a few more slides. So the few things about the meetings. So manage your time wisely, because some people like prefer like a 30 minutes meeting first, and like some people prefer like a 60 minutes. And a lot of the like seed stage, more like earlier stage investors prefer conversation. So even though you build like a really beautiful pitch deck, they don't really actually look at it. They prefer like more like a two-way conversation, more like interactive Q&A. So I usually do that, and I always ask after the meeting to send over the like presentation. I mean pitch deck after the meeting. So just like be prepared, not like really jump into the presentation, more like ask the investors that how they wanna the kind of navigate a conversation. And because it's a game, it's like a play, the things that you can play. Make sure you have time to show your product. Can be like app, can be like a demo or video. Just take time to just ask the investor to take a look, because that's kind of tells a lot, because the product is actually the selling point. And don't be afraid. By the end of the meeting, don't be afraid to ask that investor to like introduce to other investor who might be interested in investing in you guys. Usually investors talk to each other, so they know a lot of the people in common. So don't be afraid, because if they are interested, they want to get some opinion from other investors too. So yes, yeah, just ask if there's any other investor who might be interested. And something about a little bit about metrics. So a lot of the investor prefer to see like retention rate, like the MAU, DAU, sometimes like active users, user growth. But retention rate is I would say like a most important factor, the like metrics that investor care about. And it's like the chart. That looks like this chart, like the daily retention rate by until maybe like day 30. So if you can show this kind of a chart, that's great. And investors don't really care like downloads and registered users, because that's the only like more like a static number, not the like active users. And also like the jurisdiction is like one thing is that maybe like some US funds, like US based funds, prefer investing in US entities. So if you're like operating outside of the US, like India, Europe, sometimes investor ask you to set up the US entity and then flip the so that the original company will be like a subsidiary company of the US company, parent company, so that the investor can invest in the US parent company. But it's not always the case. It's quite depends on those investors too. And non-US investors actually invest in like a lot of the jurisdiction. So just be aware of that. And price, and also what's the best way to raise. It's a safe. It's like maybe like a most simple way in terms of like legal documentation, and convertible note is somewhere in the middle. The most like complicated, maybe it's going to require hard negotiation, is the price, like a preferred equity. And usually investors prefer the price preferred equity, but the safe is like much faster and much simpler. So it's more like maybe like a negotiation between you guys and also the investors for this one. Okay, and yeah, that's about it. So it's like 35 minutes. So yeah, I didn't mention about like a COVID, how this like a COVID-19 or pandemic like, affecting those investors, but it's actually not really affecting that much. Investors are still like invest in the gaming companies. So I think now is the maybe like it's more like a beneficial for you guys because um, you cannot meet them in person anyway. So it's like online version. You can access like a lot of the like various types of investors now, like locations, like a geographical distribution wise. So I think it's like a good time to like raise and understanding those like types of the game investors and building game plans pretty important. And like I said, like narratives, like story, appealing point matters a lot, not like a simple deck. So think about it, think harder about this before start talking to the investors. And also like the last piece is the like a batch processing, more like a tactics, but a batch processing, building blocks approach. It's something that you want to maybe they're going to try it out because it's not always it doesn't always work. It's some taxes that you can use and kind of leverage your like the like a negotiation. Okay, so I think that's the last one. And any questions?
So I'm going to look through chat. We've had a couple of questions. One of the main questions a few people are asking is if you'd be able to share the links from your presentation that had sources.
Right.
I forgot to ask for your slides beforehand, but if you want to paste those into the discussion whenever you get the chance, that would be great.
Okay, I'll do that. So it's actually I posted on Twitter. So if you go to my Twitters and like I think the link should be top of my post. So
I can pull that up for them and paste it in there. I'll make sure that that is something that gets to everyone. But while I'm doing that, I want to ask, Evan asks, could a successful but modest crowdfunding campaign be used to draw in larger investors that you've spoken of?
Oh, sorry, can you say that again? Sorry, I think I missed it.
No, that's okay. Evan was asking if a successful but modest crowdfunding campaign could be used to draw in these larger investors.
Yeah, that's absolutely work. Yes, I actually seen a couple of cases like that. So they started raising on like Kickstarters or like a Figure, and it's actually show that the users are like already interested in those like specific type of a game or like a project. So that's also like a really good way to like raise get some momentum for talking to the investors as well.
Had myself muted there for a second. Timothy asks, how much do VC investors usually care about how fun a game pitch or a game is? For example, when pitching to a VC firm that doesn't specialize in games, generally, how much should the pitch focus on the business metrics and market analysis rather than gameplay or what's interesting about the game itself?
Yeah, I think gameplay matters a lot, and I think that I guess like so the person asking questions like reaching out to like a different, maybe like like a wrong persons, I guess. I think in the beginning you should definitely talk to the game investors like a seed investor that I mentioned, like us, LVP, Transcend Fund, Play Ventures. So we do understand the games, and if you're talking to more like general funds, like a big funds, they care. So they care a lot about the like a business aspect as well. So, but I think it's more you have to build a game that works. That's the people enjoys and people like keep playing the games. They kind of spend the money on it. So that way you can build like an actual business. So game design, game mechanics must matters first. So I think if you don't get to that, like the level or the place, and maybe it's too early to talk to like general funds. You should definitely talk to the investor who is investing in a gaming company.
Perfect. We have another question from Jose. They ask, if you're pitching from, I think they mean developed countries, or they're saying development countries, but I believe they mean developed. Should we adjust our numbers, or should we shoot the same as if we were in a technology hub?
I don't get a question, but maybe it's I think the market is like mature enough that you cannot really get like enough growth. Is that a question maybe? Yeah, but maybe if that's the case, okay. I don't think you need to adjust the numbers because I think that the market, maybe like the selection of the market is also the kind of the like part of your strategy too. And I see like a lot of the gaming companies, there's like maybe like a New Zealand or like more like a Philippines, like a small, market before they get launched on the like bigger market like US, like Canada. So I think that's the no, you don't really have to like adjust the numbers.
And then we have another question from, let me see, Nicole. Their question is, some investors want us to change from a VR platform or port to multiple platforms such as mobile or Switch. How flexible should a team be? Should we stick to one platform or chase the investor preferences?
Yeah, it's always a tricky question. Like regardless of what the investors say, it's you're gonna be on mobile, you're gonna be on a Switch, or you're gonna be like on PlayStation. So that's really it's really like an important decision to make for each company, and it's like multiple factors, like how hard for you to port one title to the other platforms, and what's like a beneficial, I mean the potential revenue upside by doing it, but you shouldn't really it's more like a business decision. So it doesn't really have to be like more like an investment or investor decision. So it's kind of just try to focus on your business and think of it like what's the the best way for you to like when to like go other like platform. So don't listen to the investor that much.
Perfect. And Karen asks, who do you recommend sharing the pitch deck with aside from investors? What are your thoughts about sharing with the press, partners, prospects, etc.?
I would just say like other founders for sure. Other founders who already raised some money, or maybe like 2 years or 3 years ahead of you. So they've been through the process already. So like you should definitely talk to them, get some advice, and get some advice on like the pitch deck, and also like general like funding process as well. And those like founders, sometimes be like angel investors too. So they may end up like investing in you guys as well. So talk to the founders, other founders. That's like the best way to start, get some advice early on.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. So Adrian asks, is it best to focus on a single game, or can you ask for future games and growth in the same pitch?
I would recommend to focus on one game first, and but if you are thinking like more, like vision, what you want to do in the future, so it's more like a vision. But you can kind of talk about it, but I think you still focus on the like a first game you're going to be building. Yeah. Okay, so it's like time is up.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have any more time for questions, but Tepe, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with all of us.
I think I kind of show maybe like you guys can like DM me on Twitter so that I can kind of like continue the conversation. So just shoot me. I don't have an email available right now, but it's I don't know if you can show the like slides, but I'm kind of active on Twitter, so just find me and like a DM me.
Yeah, and if you want to send me your slides too, I'll make sure that when we put this video up, we can put it in the description so people can come and access it that way too.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Thanks so much.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Emma.